Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Easier Said Than Done podcast. Today, I have with me one of the students from the Inner Circle program, Mirko, who's based in California, in Los Angeles, actually. Now, Mirko and I have known each other a little while through the program, and Mirko's life has taken interesting turns, has a very interesting background himself. But most importantly, the reason I wanted Mirko on the show is because this guy's been through a lot. He's been through a lot back home in Europe. He's been through a lot since he's come in the US. He's got a lot of hunger, a lot of drive. But at the same time, Mirko's like many of us, always having to ask difficult questions. Do I really want to do this? What do I really want? What are my real goals? Do I need to take care of my parents? Like all these real life things that nobody really talks about when it comes to hard things like learning a new skill like coding, or what are we doing with their career. And so that's how I wanted Mirko on the show. He's very open and honest about how difficult it is to make these life decisions. So Mirko, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you taking out the time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, no problems. Now I know you just got home after a long session of battling LA traffic, so going to try and make this as enjoyable for you as we can. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, the kind of work you do, what brought you to LA, and stuff like that.
Sure. I'll try to keep it short. Actually, myself, I was born in Croatia. Back then it was Yugoslavia. We moved then with my parents to Switzerland. And then I did everything school background. I did a job over there back in the days, or still is actually apprenticeship. So I'm a chemical technologist. I did military service in Switzerland. So all my biggest background is in Switzerland. And then from my current company, I got the chance to move over to the US as a SAP specialist in production planning. So I moved over. And then here right now, I'm since 2018 in the US. I love it. Californian sun, perfect weather most of the time. And I went through hurdles as well, and I had the chances to take on some jobs where planner, I was project manager, I was even the head of planning, production planning in there. And now I took another opportunity to go into project management more. So that's my current background overall.
Great. Wow. Okay. So quite an adventure. And I think you had also done. So why did we? I guess then leads us to what brings you to the coding world, or what rather made you interested in learning to code programs, because we know that you don't necessarily want to become a software engineer. Welcome to Easier Said Than Done with me, Zubin Pratap, where I share with you the tens of thousands of dollars worth of self-development that I did on my journey from 37-year-old lawyer to professional software engineer. What brings you to the coding world, or what rather made you interested in learning to code programs? Because we know that you don't necessarily want to become a software engineer. You're open to it, but that's not necessarily a goal. But you still decided that you want to learn to code. In fact, I think you went to a very well-known boot camp as well before you came to me, right? So obviously this is important to you. Tell us a little bit about that. Where did that start? Why is it important? What are you trying to achieve?
Yeah, it started when I was as the head of planning. I found like kind of very in that position, it was like not supported that much. We went to that kind of COVID phase and it got like tied with money in the company. And the
Mm,
support was very minimal. And I felt it. And I felt like, hey, don't want to stay for years and years in that position. And on
mm,
top, it was kind of also a barrier that I couldn't grow more. So I was like, looked around, I was like, what else could I be? What could be my future? Then at that point, like all the boot camps started up with coding. I was like, it sounds very good opportunity. And I was always interested back in the days putting PCs together, always working with a laptop and something on it. And I was very interested. And then I
mm.
started a little bit in that, like prior to boot camps, like, let me try. I used free code camp at the beginning. It was like
Right.
very interesting. It's like, this is what you can do with the code. Wow. So then I was like, looked into the boot camp. And I actually, before that, I touched base with Zubin before then. And of course, I did not have
I forgot that.
experience.
That's right. Yeah.
And I didn't have that experience. I was just a newbie. Like I knew HTML, CSS a little bit. So it's like, let me go through the code. I went to the bootcamp because it was back then very structured. You had some sprints and everything else. After the bootcamp, I still have some contacts with the ones that are finished it. But my problem was, and it even still is, it's rushed. It feel like, yeah, I had a lot of knowledge, but at the end I was like, yeah, finish the project or a product that what I did not understand it fully. So then
Because it was
cha-
because this was it was moving too fast. Is that what you mean? Rushed, like the learning, the teaching?
correct. It was like sprints most of the time, like 2 3 week sprints,
Okay.
and as everybody know, like HTML CSS is kind of okay, but then when JavaScript comes up
Yeah.
to the part, it's exponential. And for me, it was
Yeah.
like, whoa, it's going
It's been on.
really fast. And
Yeah.
then I ended up React, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
what is what doing? So
Yeah.
then I was like kind of a little bit lost on it. It's like with that knowledge, I go to the market. I felt not confident enough to go
Yeah.
really out. So
And
then I
and at
reached
this time when you were doing your sprints and stuff, I'm guessing you were with bigger teams of people and all of you were doing the exact same thing.
most of the time we were doing the exact same thing of the software engineering.
And were
They
the people a lot younger than you? Because I know, Mirko, you have a lot of experience behind you. So I'm guessing there were people lots younger than you, different parts of life. Did you all have the same goals, or was like, do you know the story of the other people, or was everyone just told to do the exact same thing?
it was more about we went through exact same thing. We went through that kind of sprints just to kind of finish it. Like my most of the time I was more about, oh, I have to rush. Okay, let's finish it. And I can be honest here. Saw the GitHub other people that were actually in front of me. Is like, let me see how they did it. Oh, I can just copy paste
So
it.
you just copy. Yeah,
Yeah, and I got to that point, kind of finished it, but that knowledge didn't stick too much. And
of
then I
course not.
reached out to those other peoples, but it still was kind of, are they too ahead of me? And I got more kind of more questions instead of answers. So
Mm,
it's like I don't know if this is the right thing or am I really good enough for that.
yeah. So
And
you
then I
didn't
was like,
feel ready? Is that what you mean? Like at the end of this, you felt like you hadn't actually learned very much, and you weren't ready for anything in the real world. Is that right?
yeah, correct.
Got it.
Like
Okay.
nobody, they taught us like this, like, oh, here's creating, or here is additional part that you can kind of use and adapt or network. But it was more like, ooh, what should I answer? How should I answer? How
Mm,
should I approach that? It was more self-study and self-learning a lot,
hmm.
and it stopped after you kind of finish the boot
The
camp.
last the coding pieces. Yeah.
Kind of,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And so looking back, do you think learning to code is enough to become an engineer or to even
Oh,
use it in a professional way?
hell no, hell no.
Why is that?
It's more than that. Like the coding part is just a technical, but
Mm,
right now, even if my job right now, project management, you need to talk with people. You need to know the requirement. You need that human aspect that
mhm.
nobody's telling you about. It's like
Right.
even networking, like what specifically, like how should I touch? How should I approach? Who do I need to contact? It's no, coding is not enough. No.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I know you went to like one of the best boot camps, and you obviously therefore showing that you're willing to invest yourself. And it's, I think the boot camp is like twice the price of my program or whatever. But that's a separate thing. But you're
Mm.
willing to invest in yourself. You're willing to invest time, money, effort. The three things that everybody has to. You're willing to invest all of them. You're working a full time job. Why? Why was learning to code important for you, given that you've already got a very successful high earning career?
I put it this way. I see more and more that coding and everything around it, tech, AI, and everything that comes up, that's going to be more and more important. So
Hmm.
that importancy, like, kind of, I want to feel important, kind of one in a way. I want
Got
to
it.
feel something that I can contribute on it, because right now it's more about you contributing to a company. That product is sold to somebody, but
Hmm.
I will always need that skill or be in a company. And for me, it was always I'm a little bit the guys like, I want to have somebody that I can sell for myself. I want to have a skill, maybe even that's my dream to have a company, even to, hey, that's what I'm selling to you guys.
Yeah.
And if you're in a company, that's not enough. And that
Right.
was like, I was looking for something that I can use a skill and sell it to myself and like grow and showcase to the world. And that's how I
Okay.
went
Okay.
with like, oh yeah, computers, oh, software engineering, everything what you touch is around coding, having
These
even
days.
right now, this is,
Yeah.
yeah. That,
Absolutely. And so, okay, you did the coding boot camp, and then what were you hoping to achieve at the end of the coding boot camp?
I mean, of course, to get a job and then learn from that on the job to, yeah, be
Okay,
more and
so at
more
that
successful.
time you still wanted to be, you were thinking, oh, maybe
Yeah.
I'll switch and become a software engineer. Okay.
Mm.
And then when you joined, what made you speak to me? Because I know the first time you reached out. It was before you decided to do the boot camp. You decided to do the boot camp, and then you came back and reached out to me again. Why? What were you wanting to achieve next?
I wanted to more to kind of like if I have a mistake, like kind of have a mentor who
Hmm.
went through the same thing that I did. Because
Hmm.
you've been a lawyer, you change your careers.
Hmm.
And in the boot camp, yeah, there are multiple others, but they're doing the same thing as I and have different
Hmm.
stuff and did not know what's gonna come. So that's why I
Yeah.
was like, hey, I think I need more a mentor. Coding part, I think, yeah, I can learn by itself. But yeah, how to talk, what to do, what else to look for that I can use and then get to the next step.
Yeah, in fact, I went to, and this was like before your coding bootcamp became big. So mine was 2018, I think. There was another very big bootcamp that then just sort of lost its reputation. But in fact, all the new boot camps are different from who they were 6 years ago. It just shows how much has changed. But this was one of the top ones, and I left after a week because I realized not a single one of the people, not my teachers, not the peers, had actually changed their career. And I'm like, learning to code is not going to be the hard part. Like getting your hiring manager, getting someone to even give you an interview when you don't belong in the career is so much harder, right? So, right. So then, and then, yes, we ended up working. I remember speaking about what your goals were then and stuff like that. And so, looking back, because Brian and I, now that we do the inner circle thing together, we have deliberately called ourselves the anti-boot camp, right? Like it's the opposite. What is your experience? How would you describe the program? And what were you hoping to get out of it when you joined our program?
I would say you're more, I like kind of what you did before, mention it kind of that program itself. It's the inner circle. You have people the same kind of what are doing the same. And you're
Mhm.
really like focusing on each individual of us. Like we're giving feedback and you're going through each individual, our problems, our like failures, or guiding us in a way. And I think
Hey, hope you're enjoying this episode. Listen, I bet you're tired of the social media BS, you're confused and overwhelmed, and all you want is for someone to just show you a clear path to a coding career, right? We get it. My partner Brian and I, we changed to code in our 30s, and we can help you do it too. Brian and I have done all sorts of engineering work from startups to Google, and now we've built an exclusive private mentorship program designed to get you from beginner to professional developer. Whether you've done a coding bootcamp, you have a computer science degree, or you're starting from zero, it doesn't matter.
and you're
Mhm.
really like focusing on each individual of us. Like we're giving feedback and you're going through each individual our problems, our like failures, or guiding us in a way. And I think that's way more important than finishing a project, because everybody will understand the project itself, the code. Yeah, you can adapt, you can use right now AI to make it
Right.
better, but that human part, that's nobody can tell you about. You have to go through yourself and somebody
Yeah.
needs to help you through. So
Right. Okay. And so, you went through the program, you learned a lot. How do you feel about your own skills and your confidence and your understanding of how the engineering world works? Where do you feel you are on that now?
I think I feel more confident and understand where we like what's going. And I'm looking right now, even when I look for information, yeah, there's a lot of out there. YouTube, like, yeah, every day I'm looking a little bit of YouTube, and that that guy says something, AI is going to take it, like all that stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
no,
So
that's not the
overwhelming.
full truth. Like
Yeah.
that's not it. And you pick, and when I had the point with you, like it's kind of that's sorry BS, or that's BS, that's BS. So you're kind of looking for the right information, and that helped a lot for me to like filter through stuff, even to jobs that's like, hey, this is BS, that cannot be. So it helped me a lot to kind of, yeah, that's the way to go, instead
Mhm.
of really like, oh, apply this or apply that or apply this. So
Yeah.
a more analytical structure way to tackle stuff than before. I'll be like applying for every other job that I can see
Yeah.
there.
And then we never hear back and we don't understand and we never learn and we spend months and months of wasted opportunity. Then we get discouraged and we think we're the problem when actually we just don't understand how the market works, right? Like everything's easier when you know how things are done.
Mhm.
And that's the hard thing. So, I guess it's a question I've asked a few other people also on this. What is the most unexpected slash surprising thing that you encountered during the program that you didn't know about before? Could be anything at all. So
The best part is people are willing to help you. Like that
Mm.
was the first part, like asking people or asking software engineers to, hey, I have here a problem, or well, connect, let's connect.
Yeah.
That was great. One example from my part is, even I had a former employee in my company. He left and he's right now a software engineer. He did CS degree. We had some conflicts in the company. We're not the best friends. And I was like, let me try, let me reach out. Unbelievable. We went for a drink twice, actually. We talked and we went through stuff. Like he told me, hey, look, this is about software engineering, about this and this. He helped me so a lot to understand it even more.
Right.
And I was like, this is amazing. So people are willing to help you here through if you
Yeah.
really want to reach and talk with them about it. So
And before the program, you didn't fully learn how to do that, or what happened before the program? Like, how did the program help with that?
before the program, it was more like, hey guys, do you have a job I would like to get into?
Okay.
What do you do here? Or, I mean, never a real approach or direct
No
approach
approach.
or
Yes.
like specific approach. And that was
Yeah.
kind of always, they're not answering or they're not giving a response. What is that?
Yeah. No, you need a strategy. It's like a
Yeah.
marketing strategy. You need a plan, you need a strategy, you know how to, you need to, the tools, all of that. Interesting. And, now, I know you're still, you're looking at project management and technical project management skills because you want to combine your software engineering with the existing management experience.
Mm.
How do you feel about the kind of skills you have now? Because you did mention that one of the things you wanted when you were starting this 2 or 3 years ago was you wanted to, have the skills that were in demand, that were useful, that other people wanted. You wanted that ability to have that confidence. How do you feel having learned to code now? What does that mean for your career? How do you feel about your career options?
Mhm. One part is, I mean, code itself, it gave me a kind of structure. Same thing as like when I went through your program, it gave me even more structure, even how to talk with people. And I'm
Mhm.
using that more and more often actually in my company. Sometimes even don't want to say it actually, but manipulate or guide them through that way that you want.
You need to influence at the workplace. You
Yeah,
have to. Yeah.
exactly. And now it's like I'm use those skill, few of them, and it's like it helped me a lot. And then even sometimes even conflicts that I feel like, okay, maybe the different approach. And that those conflicts, not kind of conflict, but more like, no, how do I still get my yes? And that's kind of what I learned from you as well. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I still can get around to talk with people, to guide, influence them in a way. I had never had that before. And I'm
Right.
using it right now during my project manager job and
Yeah.
helped me a lot through to go through all hurdles. So I
And
learned a
and
lot
this
there.
this is why I keep telling engineers as well. It's no longer enough to just know how to code, because it's engineering is not actually how they show in the movies, just you typing alone on the screen. Yes, a lot of your day is spent there, but the reason you're doing that is because you've had to influence somebody to support a project, to support an initiative, to support a sprint, to actually release the resources and the time to put it on the Jira board. Like, there's so much influence that's needed to actually promote something. And the more you do that, the better the product becomes. The more the product gets well, your company does well. The better your company does, the more opportunities you have in the company. Like, it's a big loop, right? And so influencing the product, influencing the engineering is absolutely critical for your growth as an engineer and for other people in the company and the success of your whole company as a whole, in which case you get to succeed. So, and we spend a lot of time talking about that in the program. So I guess, Mirko, the last question for you really would be, you've achieved amazing things. You've gone battled through so many hardships. You've climbed to leadership positions. You've taught yourself very complex, advanced skills, even through the program and through boot camps. And you've made a lot of effort. You've done a lot of things. What is it that excites you most about your future? Now, with all of these achievements under your belt, what are you most excited about in your future?
One part is, I would say, the opportunity that I got. Like before, it was more about this way or not the other way. I'm all a go again to your program. Like that structure helped me a lot. That mindset of problem solving. It's not for only coding software engineer. You can
No.
apply that to every job. So I'm kind of can choose a little bit. I will probably still continue to code. I love the just kind of what you can create with code, project management, right? And a lot of in software engineering is project management as well. And I think at the
100%.
end I can combine that. And then really, do I still love software engineering? Go that route, or I say like, no, let's adapt here and then really grow into specific position. So I always wanted that option, and right now I can showcase to everybody those skills, and that helps me a lot right now. So
You know, a lot of people, Mirko, they get into, especially when they're more junior in their 20s and stuff, they get into software engineering, and then in 3 to 5 years, a lot of them will want to go into management track. Some of them will want to go to project management track. Some of them want to go to product management track. So engineering is where they start off, and then their real career growth goes in other avenues, right? And you, because you're quite senior, you're in your late 30s when you join the program, so, or mid 30s when you join the program or whatever, you'd already got some of that seniority. So for you, you can actually compress the time frame. So you do you get the engineering skills, and then you go straight into the kind of promotional roles that other engineers have to wait for 7 years, because you've got the other transferable skills from your previous life. Like and this is why I keep telling people, don't just obsess about software engineering, obsess about the skill, then open up the options. Because not everyone's going to want to be an engineer for a long time. A lot of people want to be an engineer so that they can become a product manager. If you can skip and go straight to being a product manager with technical skills, why wouldn't you? Right? Like, that's just the rational thing to do.
And adding to that, you actually said it in your program really good. Don't think about the job now. Think about 2, 3 other jobs. So
Correct.
that's exactly for me. Like, I have project. If I start here, I can grow that even more. And that's
Correct.
what you actually said.
We always think 2 to 5 jobs down the road. We don't think about the next job. We always have to think about 2 to 5 jobs down the road, right? So good, man. Look, I'm glad, and I know, just for anyone who's listening, I think, Mirko seems like a very smiling, positive person, and he is. But this guy's been through a lot. Like, he's been through a lot of dark days, a lot of setbacks, just like most people that we work with in the program, because we spend so much time with you guys. It's a lot of time. We're available for you guys when you need to get on the phone. There have been so many times that you and I have got on the phone last minute because we needed to talk about something. That's the nature of the relationship, of the coaching relationship. And we get to see how many people struggle, and how usually the struggle is a sign of progress, right? Because if you're not struggling, that means you're not making progress. It's because you've got a new problem that needs to be solved. That problem has only happened because you've made progress. And so it's a great feeling to watch your students like Mirko encounter a big problem, feel defeated in the moment, feel scared in the moment, feel confused in the moment, and then keep fighting. And we love standing by people at your side and helping you, because this is the human experience. Like, I've struggled a lot. Anyone who's trying for something will struggle. It's just the rule of the jungle, right? If you're not struggling, you're probably not trying. That's the reality of it. So, Mirko, congratulations on all your success, on all your tremendous fighting spirit, your heart, your incredible work ethic. I know you have to work across multiple sites in the California area, drive from here to there, a lot of time in traffic, different offices, typical big corporate stuff. There are challenges. You've attended calls where I've also seen that you've had to leave the call or attend to something quite urgently because of your level of seniority, and you've shown up with tremendous commitment. So well done, congratulations, and thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. And more importantly, thank you for sharing the reality, the inside story, and sharing with people just how difficult it can be. And things are not obvious. They look obvious when you're on the outside, but when you're inside, there are difficult decisions, there are confusing times, and there's a lot of social media BS, as you said, right? And it gets in your head. So we want to avoid that. So thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. And thanks for sharing all your insights and experience.
Thank you for everything, all to you, Zubin.
Of course, no problems. All right, guys, that's it for this show. I will see you all next time.
Do it. Just subscribe. You know you got to do it.